14 tips I wish I knew before picking up the guitar. Musicians today are privileged to have online access to a lifetime's worth of music training for any instrument. There's something for everyone, whether it's YouTube, online music schools, or in-depth conversations with professional musicians. With a few mouse clicks, we can learn what moved the best musicians forward and what held them back. There are often things that musicians, particularly guitarists, wish they had done differently when they first started playing. Despite the fact that each guitarist's approach to playing is unique, some of the mistakes they wish they could undo or modify are practically ubiquitous. Even if you are quite confident in your guitar abilities, we strongly advise you to review some of these top-notch guitar tips. We'll talk about a few things most guitarists wish they knew before learning to play the guitar in this video. 1. Don't worry about your gear when first starting out. When you first begin playing, be sure you have a decent guitar to use, but don't worry too much beyond that. An expensive setup isn't important at first. What is important is that the guitar you do have is set up to play well. Keep the action low and get a new set of strings for it. Picking out a new guitar, amps, and effect pedals is fun, but it is not essential for beginners. 2. Learn a lot of chords. Learning how to play your favorite song will be cool at first, but if that's all you know how to play, there is a good chance you're going to get bored. If you're playing the same chords every time you play your favorite song, a simple fix would be to substitute the chords. Songwriters will know several alternatives to the same chord on the guitar. If you know this, you're already at an advantage. Think of chords as different colors you can use to paint your musical landscape. The more colors you're able to use, the better picture you will be able to paint. 3. Use what you're practicing in a musical context. We're not robots as guitar players. As musicians, we're as far from that as possible, but I've often seen students practice scales up and down to a metronome all day. This sounds like a depressing scene. When you first start learning a scale, chord, or technique, try and use it in a musical context as soon as you can. If you're learning the Mixolydian mode, choose a key to practice it over. Put on a backing track if you're learning a new riff and try to see how it fits in an actual song. If you get on stage, you're not going to be running scales up and down the fretboard. But you will be playing songs. If you want to not sound so scalar, practicing what you learn in a musical context is key. 4. Spend time on the hard stuff and break things down. When I first was starting out, almost by accident I started playing more difficult songs right away, because I was into technical bands. This turned out to be one of the best things for me, because it developed my playing so quickly. If I tried to learn a difficult song, I wouldn't get discouraged. Instead, I'd try to break ideas down into smaller chunks, and work on a couple of parts a day. I'd get the rhythm parts down first, then tackle some of the leads, and finally solos of a song. You can even break more difficult riffs into just a bar or two so they become more manageable. Further, if you're able to slow the riff down a bit, almost any riff becomes learnable. 5. Learn a few basic chords and a scale, then learn a song. You'd be shocked how many songs you can play with the following. Chords: E, E minor, G, C, D, A minor. Scale: A minor pentatonic. Via guitar for beginners, songs. Once you have those down, find yourself a few songs to practice. Bob Dylan has a lot of great and simple stuff, but chord sites and YouTube are packed with entry-level songs to learn. Find something that suits your style. 6. Focus on your strumming and picking. The way you strum and pick is going to define you as a player. You can take the same notes or chords, and strum, pick them in different ways with a wide range of results. It's pretty incredible. Explore it. Get your strum down. It is the motor that keeps your playing going. Long term, you'll be able to pick up new chords and scales pretty quickly once you can control your strumming and picking on the basics. 7. Be as efficient as possible. Whether you're focusing on speed, switching from open chord to open chord, or anything when it comes to guitar, focus on efficiency first. We only have so many notes to work with on any instrument, so you can imagine there are a number of ways to play chords and riffs. Try and find the most comfortable and efficient way to play with your left hand, and then also focus on how you can work on your right hand. Whether that be economy, hybrid or alternate picking, there's always a simpler way to play things. 8. Know what you're going to practice. One of the fastest ways you can progress on guitar is to know what you're going to work on when you sit down. We all have those days where all we want to do is just sit down and jam, and those days are important. If you really want to see progress though, try and develop a practice regimen where you can work on stuff every single day if possible. Try modes, picking, transcribing, theory, songwriting and more one day, and then switch it up the next. Setting limits for yourself and knowing what you're going to practice ahead of time will allow you to grow in leaps and bounds as a player. 9. Stay disciplined when you practice. There is an obvious difference between practicing with a purpose and just fooling around. Practicing with a purpose will yield quick results, but fooling around doesn't accomplish much of anything. Even if you lack motivation on a particular day, don't pick up your guitar until you have a game plan. If you do pick it up and play around, that is fine, just don't count it as a true practice. If you're trying to learn on your own, knowing how to practice properly will save you from countless wasted hours and a lot of disappointment in the future. Are you going to work on scales? A particularly difficult riff? A new song? Speak to an experienced guitarist if necessary, and ask them how they practice. 10. Play with other musicians. Learning to play by yourself is admirable, but it can eventually cause a lack of motivation, or you'll hit a brick wall and won't know what to do next. One of the easiest ways to progress your playing is to play with other people. Find a few people you can play with on a semi-regular basis and see how things go. You won't click with everyone you try to play with, but that's part of the experience. The best way to see if you mesh with another musician is to have a couple of cover songs you want to play and see how it goes from there. One of the biggest benefits of playing with other people is developing the ability to listen. Know when to lead and know when to step back. You'll also be able to tell what key a song is in fairly quickly because you'll have to figure it out on the fly a lot of the time. 11. Develop a feel for timing with a metronome. Using a metronome isn't all bad. Knowing when to play slow, fast, before the beat, on the beat, when to increase or decrease the tempo, and remain in control are all valuable skills to have. Guitarists tend to rush. There's no shame in admitting that because it's pretty much universally true. We all want to shred, right? However, you can prevent this habit from developing if you use a metronome when you first start. There are many free online metronomes if you don't want to make a trip to the music store. 12. Challenge yourself. When you begin playing guitar, you will likely find a comfort zone after a few months. Whether it be particular chords, specific scales, or a singular band's cover tabs. While having this comfort area to fall back on is great, it is important to push forward into unknown territory. When you start working on new material, you're more likely to learn and develop new techniques. Then, you won't be afraid to try new songs because you're already used to challenging yourself. You will know how to break big challenges into smaller chunks and tackle a couple of those smaller parts every day. Learn the rhythms, move to the leads, and then work on the solos. If necessary, You can break the difficult riffs into a bar or two to make them a little more manageable. And if you can slow the riff down a bit, it will make it much easier to learn. 13. Ask experienced players for advice. Like most situations in life, if you ever have a question, don't be afraid to ask. Many experienced musicians will be more than happy to help out because they remember what it was like when they first started playing. And everyone can teach you something, no matter how much experience they have. Focus on the positive aspects of someone's playing and never harp on the negative. Trained guitarists can likely offer a self-taught guitarist many technique tips. On the flip side, some of the most gifted technical guitarists could learn a thing or two about spontaneity from a raw street musician. 14. Never stop having fun. After putting in hour after hour of learning an instrument, it's easy to forget to have fun. A particularly rough gig or a difficult practice can be a deterrent, but the first 6 months or so of learning any new instrument can be incredibly tedious, and guitar is no exception. There are many reasons playing can stop being fun, and just about all of them will present themselves throughout the years. But don't worry about that. The guitar is an extraordinary instrument, and once you learn it, you are never going to put it down. But if it ever stops being fun, take a break. Taking a little break doesn't have to mean you're hanging up the 6th string forever. When you come back to it, chances are you will be re-energized with a new love for the guitar. Guitar has had a profound impact on the lives of countless people. I hope that the things I've learned from my personal struggles can assist you on your journey. Please like and share this video if you find it interesting. If you have any questions, use the comment section. Subscribe for more videos like this.